Welcome to New Earth, a place where time seems to stand still. New Earth was a quiet town, filled with charming buildings that seemed to whisper stories of the past. It sat nestled between rolling hills, offering a picturesque view that could take your breath away. The streets were always clean, as if they were swept by invisible hands every morning. The people were always friendly, greeting each other with warm smiles and kind words. Everyone knew each other by name, creating a close-knit community that felt more like a large family. It was the kind of place where you could leave your door unlocked at night, trusting in the safety of your neighbors. The town square was the heart of New Earth, a gathering place for all. A big clock tower stood in the center, its chimes marking the passage of time every hour. Kids played in the fountain on hot days, their laughter echoing through the square. Old folks sat on benches, feeding pigeons and sharing stories. It was picture perfect. But even perfect places have secrets. Dark secrets that lurk beneath the surface. Secrets that can tear a town apart, unraveling the very fabric of its community. And New Earth had one of the darkest secrets of all, hidden in plain sight. It was about to come to light, threatening to change everything. No one saw it coming, not even in their wildest dreams. Not even Macky, the town guardian, who was always vigilant. He was supposed to keep everyone safe, a protector of peace. But some dangers can't be seen until it's too late, lurking in the shadows. And by then, it's already too late to stop them, leaving the town to face its darkest hour. Macky was tall and strong. He had a kind face and watchful eyes. Everyone in town trusted him. He'd been the guardian for 20 years. Not once had he let anyone down. Every morning, Macky walked the streets of New Earth. He greeted shopkeepers as they opened up. He helped old Mrs. Benson with her groceries. He even rescued cats from trees. No job was too big or too small for Macky. At night, Macky patrolled the town. His heavy boots echoed on the cobblestones. The sound made everyone feel safe. If trouble came, Macky would be there. That's what everyone believed. But Macky had a secret. He wasn't alone in guarding New Earth. He had help. 5 friends who worked in the shadows. They were his eyes and ears. Together they kept New Earth safe, or so they thought. Macky's friends were an odd bunch. There was Jafar, the baker. He knew all the town gossip. Jomar was the mailman. He could get into any building. Elmer ran the library. He knew everything about everyone. Dang was the town drunk. No one paid him much attention. But he saw everything. And then there was Jug. Jug was different. He was new in town. No one knew much about him. The 6 of them met every Friday night. They gathered in the back room of Jafar's bakery. They shared what they'd learned. They made plans to keep New Earth safe. It had worked for years, but things were about to change. One of them wasn't who they seemed. One of them had a dark plan. A plan that would shake New Earth to its core. And it all started with Jug. Jug was always smiling. He laughed at everyone's jokes. He bought rounds at the bar. Everyone liked Jug, but no one really knew him. He was a mystery wrapped in a smile. At the Friday meetings, Jug always had the best stories. He knew things no one else did. It was impressive, too impressive. But no one thought to question it. They were all friends after all. But Jug had secrets, dark secrets. He wasn't really their friend. He was playing a part, a very dangerous part, and he was very, very good at it. Jug had a plan, a terrible plan. He was going to betray them all, and not just betray them. He was going to destroy them, and through them, he would destroy New Earth. But first, he had to gain their trust completely. Section 5. A sinister plan unfolds. Jug's plan was simple. He would turn the friends against each other. He would plant seeds of doubt. He would whisper lies in the dark, and he would watch them fall apart. It started small. A rumor here, a misplaced item there. Nothing big, nothing obvious, but it was enough. Enough to make them wonder, enough to make them doubt. Macky was the first to notice. Something was off. The town felt different. People were on edge, but he couldn't put his finger on why. He asked his friends. They felt it too, but no one suspected Jug. He was always there with a kind word, a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on. He was the perfect friend, the perfect liar, and his plan was working perfectly. Section 6. Suspicions arise. Weeks passed. The tension grew. Friends started arguing. Old grudges resurfaced. The town was changing, and not for the better. Macky was worried. He called a special meeting. They gathered in the bakery. The mood was tense. No one was smiling, not even Jug. Macky spoke first. "Something's wrong," he said. "We need to figure it out." Accusations flew. Jafar blamed Jomar. Jomar blamed Elmer. Elmer blamed Dang. Dang was too drunk to blame anyone. And Jug? Jug just watched and smiled his secret smile. But then Dang spoke up. Through his drunken haze, he saw clearly. "It's not us," he slurred. "It's him." And he pointed at Jug. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Jug, and Jug's smile grew wider. Jug stood up slowly. His smile never faltered.
"Well done, Dang. I didn't think any of you would figure it out, especially not you."
His voice was cold, cruel, not at all like the Jug they knew. The others were stunned. Macky found his voice first. "Macky, why Jug? Why would you do this?" Jug laughed. It was a harsh sound, like breaking glass.
"Why? Because I could, because it was fun."
Jug's eyes gleamed with malice.
"You are all so trusting, so easy to manipulate. I've been playing you for months and you never suspected a thing."
The truth hit them like a punch to the gut, but Jug wasn't done.
"And now it's time to end this game?"
He pulled out a gun. The metal gleamed in the dim light.
"Who wants to go first?"
Time seemed to stop. No one moved, no one breathed. The gun in Jug's hand was the only real thing in the room. Macky's mind raced. He had to do something. He had to protect his friends. Macky. "Jug, put the gun down. We can talk about this." Jug laughed again. That terrible glass-breaking laugh.
"Talk? Oh, Macky, always the hero, but there's nothing to talk about."
Jug's finger tightened on the trigger. Macky tensed, ready to spring. But before either could move, there was a crash. Dang had thrown his bottle. It hit Jug's hand. The gun went off. The sound was deafening in the small room. For a moment, no one moved. Then Jug looked down. A red stain was spreading across his shirt. He looked surprised. Then he fell. The gun clattered to the floor. The silence was broken by screams. Piercing, heart-wrenching screams that echoed through the streets. People from the street, drawn by the gunshot, gathered in confusion and fear. They burst into the bakery, their hearts pounding, their minds racing. They saw Jug on the floor, the gun lying ominously beside him, a silent witness to the chaos. The shocked faces of Macky and the others told a story of disbelief and horror. It all happened so fast after that. The police came. There were questions, so many questions. Macky told them everything, about Jug, about the betrayal, about the gun. It sounded crazy, but it was true. The truth was stranger than fiction. Jug survived, barely, his life hanging by a thread. He was taken to the hospital under guard, his fate uncertain. The town was in shock. How could this happen? In New Earth, it was unthinkable, but it had happened. The unthinkable had become reality, and nothing would ever be the same. The air was thick with sorrow and disbelief. The next few days were a blur. Reporters came. They asked more questions. The story spread like wildfire. New Earth was no longer the perfect little town. Its innocence shattered. It was the town where trust died, where neighbors looked at each other with suspicion, where a friend became an enemy, where bonds were broken, where safety was an illusion. The sense of security, once taken for granted, was now a distant memory. New Earth changed after that night. People locked their doors, something they had never felt the need to do before. They eyed strangers with suspicion, a stark contrast to the warm welcomes they once offered. The easy trust that had defined the town was gone, replaced by a pervasive sense of unease, replaced by fear, by doubt. Every smile now seemed forced, every handshake hesitant. The innocence of the town had been shattered. Macky, the guardian who had always been their protector, resigned. He couldn't protect the town from its own trusting nature. His friends, once inseparable, began to drift apart. The weight of their shared experience was too heavy, a burden none of them could carry alone. They couldn't bear to look at each other without remembering the pain, the betrayal. The town held a meeting, a somber gathering to address the crisis that had befallen them. They talked about what happened, dissecting every detail, every misstep, about how to prevent it from happening again. They discussed new security measures, ways to protect themselves, but there were no easy answers. The solutions were as elusive as the trust they had lost. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to forgive. They had learned that the hard way. The lesson was harsh, but it was necessary. In the end, Neuwirth survived, but it was different, harder, warier. The town had adapted to a new cautious reality. The lesson had been painful, a scar that would never fully heal, but it had been learned. Never trust blindly. Always question, always be careful. These were the new rules they lived by. Because sometimes the most dangerous person is the one you least suspect, the one who hides in plain sight, the one you call friend, the one you thought you knew.